I'm going to tie up a different spinner pattern, a blue ringed olive spinner. It's a good fly to have, obviously in the evenings. That could be some of the best fishing you can have. You know, when everyone goes home and the blue ringed olive spinners start falling, it can be like, you know, the best time on the river. It's just having the persistence to stay out late while it's all happening. This is a really good pattern. I might swear a bit tying it. I hate tying these, but hopefully I'll do it all right. But they are a bit of a pig to tie.
So how much guiding do you do occasionally?
I do a fair bit on the rivers. I do a fair bit on sort of still waters as well. I normally, if I'm taking people, I normally go to like Avon Springs because they've got the lakes are good there. They've got good facilities. You can take people on the grass, do a bit of casting before you go on the river or the lake or whatever. So yeah, I do a fair bit of that now. Obviously, I had to get qualified to work for fishing schools. So I'm, you know, qualified coach. So this one is it's a similar grub hook to the Dohiku, but this is a grip one, a size 14. It's just a little bit lighter wire. So we get one of them on. I have to buy some more of these. I haven't got any. So size 14, quite a lightish wire grab hook. Give me some brownish thread. But don't suppose the thread colour really matters, but I noticed now that, because I always religiously for years I've used UTC, but I've noticed now that the quality's gone downhill really bad. The colours, the dyeing colours aren't. So I believe there was 2 old ladies who used to do all the dyeing, and I don't know if they've left or retired, but it's all gone.
Do you also get little nodules on it?
I've seen, I've seen like spools that have collapsed on. You know, they.
I thought it was me being heavy-handed until
No, I think the quality's just gone downhill. I love using UTC because you can spin it out and get it really flat and it's really strong because it's just nylon as well. That's where you get the colours are great because it's a nylon thread. It absorbs. It's really good at absorbing dye and you get really good bold colours on it, but not anymore.
Units only went the same way when we stopped manufacturing in Canada and put it all in Spain.
Right. Because I don't like Viva. Everyone says a lot of people use Vivas, but I don't get on with it. So I got some brown thread because we're sort of spinnering. So
What's the preferred thread of choice then today?
oh, it's still the UTC 70, but it's all old spools I'm using really. I do use Uni. I will use Uni, but it's not my favourite. So now we've got some going posh. Got some Coq de Leon or Gallo de Leon. So let's just get one on that. So a spinner. So we want nice long tail. So the same as what I've done with the feathers in the past. Tease out several fibres.
What is this again?
Coq de Leon. It's in Spain. It's a cockerel feather. They're really bright, stiff, and shiny. See how shiny that is on the bottom. And they're
Sort of pearly almost.
they can't. I don't know how it is. It's sort of in a certain area. Some people used to say it's where they've like radioactive uranium-rich soil or something.
It's near the city of Leon.
Yeah. But they say if you bring the birds into this country, the feathers lose quality straight away. So I don't know if it's to do. I don't know what it is, but they cost a blooming fortune. But they do look really nice. So.
It's because they don't get the paella when they come in.
Yeah. But it was a bit like fair trade coffee. The farmers who do these basically weren't getting paid anything, and they only get like sort of stamp certified. But there's Chevron Hackles, the lady Tina, who I do a lot of time for. She, you know, they sort of they've made up their own sort of like fair trade thing now. So now the farmers get paid a decent amount for their product, sort of thing, instead of just the. the suppliers making the money. So we want quite a long tail on this. So you could go stupidly high. Some spinners, you know, they've got really long tails, and it's always on a fly like this. The tail helps it float. So I might swear a bit on this fly because I don't like tying it. So I'll go. Keep the tail on top of the shank. Go round the bend. As this is a spinner pattern with a difference. Anyone know Dave Wiltshire? He used to write for one of the magazines. He's a lovely guy, he lives near Bristol. He showed me this pattern. So I just run the thread back out just to tidy that up. Cut that off. Because when a lot of people tie spinner patterns, they tie the standard like crucifix shape. So you'd have a straight shank hook with a crucifix wing on top, tail coming out the back. It's like a little cross, isn't it? So you got them, when you see, especially when you're wading and fishing, you see the spinners on the water, a lot of them, they're in a right state. They're all crippled up, all crunched up, you know, bits missing. So this is a completely different sort of spinner pattern to match that. So we want some rusty dubbing. So I've just got some nice, sort of a soft rusty coloured dubbing.
Basically, what it's like saying is you can tie as rough as you like, pretty much.
Well, it's not so much the tie, it's the shape of the.
There's an art to that, so mine look like that regardless.
Yeah, no, it's you'll see what I mean in a minute. Well, this is different. It all will become clear.
Put this in the bronze and wood, I might make it.
Yeah. All will become clear.
As long as you go tidy heads, do it.
Yeah. As long as it's got a tidy head. Forgive anything if it's got a tidy head. So let's get the thread back to the back. See, well, it's quite skinny. So catch in the dubbing, tighten it out. Just a nice skinny rusty body. Too much dubbing. I think the technical term is slough off, isn't it? So slough off that dubbing. I don't need it.
It's just probably 20 years ago, you look at the magazines, all the flyers were just so thick and heavily dressed.
It's amazing. You look at the fly books from like the 80s, and it's a completely different style, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really big heads.
Yeah, the buzzers were just really thick and chunky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I find, especially with things like buzzers, where when you're learning to tie, you're trying to get them skinnier and skinnier. And now I'm back the other way. Now I'm trying to make them fatter and fatter again now. But, so there's our spinner. We've got the abdomen tied. I have just sort of dubbed up to the, further than I need to. But then I find if you've got a bit of dub in there, you've got a nice sort of bed to tie onto again now. So what I'm going to do now is a wing. It's a simple pattern. There's hardly anything to it. I quite like using something with a little bit of sparkle. So this is basically for like pike fly fishing. This is sculpted in flash fibre, but it's got a little bit of flashness, so it's nice. And we literally just want a tiny little. Cut it off.
You got something like that on your skirts, haven't you, Keith?
Two of them.
So it's nice. You can see a bit of sparkle in there.
That's not carbon neutral anyway.
So less is more with this. You don't want. I've got tons too much here. Just keep teasing. Hopefully, just teasing the short bits out.
It's a wonder anybody caught any fish 100 years ago.
Yeah.
No synthetic anything.
They did. This is the interesting thing.
It is.
But I think the favourite materials of mine on the table has got to be those two have got to be my favourites every time. Fox, squirrel, and partridge. You can't beat them. So
That's English parts, is it?
Yeah.
French, wouldn't
yeah, English. It seems to be getting really hard to get at the moment.
Because there's not many about.
No.
The bugs who catch them skin them, that's why.
Yeah. So that is going to be our spinner wing. But when I tie that in, when I'm doing thread wraps and whatnot, we're going to get, it's quite easy, you get fibres go astray and it becomes a bit fiddly. So a good way to stop that is to get one end, actually wet your finger first, because this stuff's like napalm, and then burn and flatten one end, and then do the same the other end. Then as you're tying, you're not going to get stray fibres going, disappearing and ending up where they shouldn't.
That's the reason to put out all the stray bits before you start that.
Yeah. Yeah, good, it's quite tidy and then...
Nice bit of saliva, does me.
Yeah. So, hopefully it just gets all the... everything stuck together. So then you've got a wing in like one unit as opposed to like loads of fiddly bits. See, this is where this fly differs. We're not going to do the wing that way, we're going to do the wing that way. So just get...
Oh, is he got a fish on his side then?
Yeah, it falls over on its side, so then you've got a bent, crumpled up little spinner.
Ah.
Very neat.
Yeah. So just tied that in on the top.
You can see that already, can't you? That is moment of passion, now it's bucket.
So I'm just sort of figure of eighting, trying to get. I knew this slide nearly made me swear. So that's basically when the fibres just come out. So that's basically the wing tied in anyway. So it's completely the other way to how it should be. Obviously it needs trimming.
You're going to trim the burnt ends off that way.
Yeah, we'll tidy it up a bit. So I'm going to do, so we've got a nice tight fine abdomen. So I'm going to use the same dubbing for the thorax. But then I'm just going to make it a slightly coarser and darker texture and colour, just by adding a bit of the old favourite fox squirrel. That's probably too much. So these, Steve Cooper at Cookshill Tackle, he still sells these. I think it's in America, I think it's a bit of a pest. It's a bit like our grey squirrel here, I think. But it's amazing dubbing.
What was that called again? That was
Fox squirrel.
Foxborough.
Yeah. I think it's America. But for like shrimp patterns and things like that, it's brilliant stuff.
Was it got foxy head on it then or something?
It's a slightly, naturally, it's that one, see I've dyed that one as well, but naturally it's got that foxy
Yeah.
sort of reddy tinge to it.
Yeah.
There is a fox squirrel nymph which has got that as the abdomen and that like as a thorax, which is a really good sort of nymph pattern.
They multiplied because the hounds couldn't get up the trees to get them.
In Canada, you get the black ones, the ones who've got a few ears in various places.
Yeah.
So there we go. So we've got used the same dubbing for the abdomen, but I've just darkened it and coarsed it up a bit with a bit of fox squirrel. So now literally we're just going to do, all we've got to do, we don't want to bulk this out or anything, we just want to cover the thread wraps I've done, tying the wing in, and just make it a little bit of a thorax. So this is, you try and do everything and the blooming wing just gets in the way.
I'm sure I heard you say buzzer.
Yeah. There we go. So a couple of turns on there, that'll do. Slough off there. But on the just doing traditional spinner patterns, that is a really good thing to do. Burn the end of your wings. It makes it so much easier. Because otherwise you find, especially if you're doing a spinner pattern with a hackle, when you wind the hackle, you end up dragging wing fibres round, and when you think you've got a beautiful fly, and then when you finish it, you have a look, you've got bits of wing fibre sticking out everywhere. So there we go.
It's a good trick on anything from cord to nylon rope. It seals the end of
Yeah, yeah. So that's the way it finished. So yeah, that coarser dubbing just picks out nice. It's like little legs and whatnot, and just adds to the sort of crumpled effect. Because you know these spinners, they basically they've done their job. They've laid their eggs. They're just dying on the water, so they do look pretty knackered. So now we want to. This is a good thing. Use your scissors as to help with proportion. It's a bit difficult to measure the length of this fly because it's curved, but as a rule you can use your scissors like a pair of calipers, so I can measure the length of the fly. It's great for like ordinary when you're doing traditional patterns, because you can measure, say if you're doing a wet fly and the tail has to be the same length as the shank, you can hold your scissors up, hold it up to the body, you can check your tail length, so it's a good tool just for checking proportion. So as a rule, we've got the body length, the wings should be the same as the body length-ish. So I can use my scissors, measure them there. Now I don't want to cut them straight across, I want to cut them at an angle. So measure the same as that one. Always get one wing slightly longer than the other and then you're chasing it. Just to yeah, no, it's not the greatest, but you get the idea. So as a rule, because the effect of the tail going like that, the fly will normally land that way, that wing will hit the water, and then it just falls on its side like that. So it's a cool pattern. It's definitely one worth playing with.
Who invented it?
I don't know. It was I got it from Davy Wiltshire.